Hello, welcome to Movement Not Miracles. I'm Anna from Eat, Move, Be Happy. Movement Not Miracles, put my teeth in, is all about your bite-sized sessions to help keep your joints mobile, keep your joints healthy, stretch through some of those stiff muscles and ward off some of those aches and pains that we can get from sitting in the same position for too long. So top tip, keep moving. Doing something is better than doing nothing, and try and look after your posture as you go throughout the day. Little and often is a good ploy. Just before I properly start, check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com and check out some of our online coaching programs that are available to help you change your eating and exercise habits for the long term. So if you need a bit of help coaching around your eating and exercise habits, then we've got programs for you. And the First Step program, which sets you up for success, the new group starts on Monday, and there's still time, there's a couple of places left, there's still time for you to enrol. So today is all about all over mobility. So we're going to focus on mobility, and as ever, just as we start, Martha decides she wants to go out. So we will just let Martha out. She's like clockwork. I just don't know why I don't put her out to start off with. She was fast asleep. So for the more observant amongst you, you will notice I have socks on. Be careful if you are working with socks and you're doing some of these mobility things and you're on a slippy floor. I'm actually using a mat, so I'm not going to slip. I'm also not going to take my socks off because it's a bit chilly, and I want to keep my feet warm. So, but that's a top health and safety tip. So we're going to start off, you can do these seated or standing. So if you are seated, make sure you are sitting nice and tall on the edge of the chair, not using the backrest of the chair, but not so that you're going to fall off the chair either. That's also another top health and safety tip. Sitting nice and tall with your weight evenly distributed between your left and your right bottom bone. And if you are standing, weight evenly distributed between your left and your right foot. So that we're not standing, it's a really bad habit to just stand on with our weight through one side. And you know, how often do we find ourselves standing in queues or waiting for the kettle to boil like this? And it's really not good. Keeping the balance is a better way of looking after your joints and your posture. So weight evenly distributed, and to start off with, we're going to work on our shoulders. So lifting your shoulders up and back and down. And as ever, keep the lower part of your body secure and stable using the muscles in your bottom, and also the muscles in your tummy, so that you're not letting your bum stick out or your ribs stick out. That's not good for your posture either. So think nice and tall and rolling those shoulders up and back and down, really squeezing through your shoulder blades on the back of your chest in your upper thoracic region. So you should be able to feel those shoulder blades moving around on your back, which is what's going to allow your shoulders to actually move. And as your shoulder blades squeeze together, you should feel a nice stretch, lots of space across your collarbones. And then we're going to bring the arms into that. So the bigger the move with the arms, the better. So a nice big stretch up, again without letting your lumbar region arch. So we don't want to put any pressure on that lower back. And a nice big move. Now we're going to take these into shoulder dislocates. So it's useful to have something to brace your arms against. Certainly for me, this helps me get more movement through my shoulders. My shoulders are quite stiff, so I'm using a yoga belt. You can use an ordinary belt, a dressing gown cord, anything that is not stretchy and you can brace your arms against. The wider your arms, then the easier this is, and I don't want you to force the move. but we're literally, whoops, I nearly dropped the belt then. We're just going to move our arms overhead. I want to shorten it a little bit. And believe it or not, that's about my limit. And as you get to the furthest part, think of really squeezing through those shoulder blades. I actually saw a YouTube clip the other day of a gymnast doing this, and I swear to goodness, he had his hands back that far apart and went up and all the way over. His shoulders are a little bit more flexible than mine, but that's okay. So standing nice and tall as you do this and trying to keep your arms straight. And it actually, although it's quite hard work, that does actually help my shoulders feel a lot better. So we said mobility today, so make sure you've got a nice lot of space around you, because we're now just going to stretch our arms across the front of our body. So with this, you're getting a nice big stretch across your chest, but you're also working the muscles in your back. So your shoulder blades should still be moving. Now if you can, palms up and hands parallel to the floor. So we don't want to be moving here. We're not getting as much movement or stretch through the chest. So think of arms up, parallel to the floor, and a nice big swinging motion with your arms. So again, we're getting a bit more movement through the shoulders and a stretch through the chest, but we're encouraging movement as well. And a bit of a tactical waggle there. Okay, what else have we got? Oh, this is a nice one just to get some movement in our upper back. So you can use the wall for this one. And you can also use a work surface or a tabletop. So the idea with this one is you're going to brace your arms against the solid surface. I'm going to use the wall so that your arms stay straight and you can get some movement through your upper back. So I think of pushing my bottom back behind me and then reaching your chest down towards the floor, and then you can reach down and then relax. So arms stay straight and you're stretching through your armpit area. So as you brace down, you get more movement through this part of your back here. Now, your vertebrae are not designed to move all over the place. They're there to give us some structure, a framework. But they are designed to move. So, and your vertebrae in your upper back typically can get stiffer than the other parts of your back. So this is a really good way to encourage a bit more movement through your upper back. Keep breathing whilst you do this. Okay. And again, a bit of a tactical waggle. So now we're going to take this into a twist. Again, you can do these seated. So if you want to be sitting in a chair, sit nice and tall. If you can stand, do stand. I've been sitting for a reasonable amount of time, so I'm going to stand to do these today. And it's up to you. You can fold your arms across your body. You can use your arms as a bit of a pendulum. But we're aiming for as much twist through the body as we can. Now, you can let your hips move to start off with, but what we're aiming to do is to get a bit more rotation through your upper back. So keeping your hips reasonably solid, rather than moving all over the shop, is a good idea. So think of hips staying relatively still, and trying to rotate all the way around through that chest, bringing that shoulder forwards. Keep breathing whilst you're doing it. And then we're now going to take that into a side bend. So you've had some twisting movement through that upper back. We're now going to take it into a side bend. So I like to do these with my stance a little bit wider. And we're reaching down one side and then down the other side, keeping your body in that straight line. So we're not bending forwards. If I show you from the side, we're not bending forwards to reach down. We're staying in that sideways plane. Again, standing or sitting nice and tall before you start the movement. So again, we're encouraging as much movement through the spine as you can. It's typically easier to get movement through the lower part of your back. And that upper thoracic part of your back, sort of midsection of your spine, is harder to reach. So if you increase a nice, or add a nice big stretch with one arm, and then if you can reach over, that just helps me get a bit more movement out of my upper back, but also you get a nice stretch down your side as well. And keep breathing whilst you do this, don't forget that bit, it's quite important. One more on each side. Okay, and then last but not least, just a little bit of work on our hips. Again, your hips can get really quite stiff when you're sitting still in this sort of position all of the time. So our hip flexors get really tight. So we're just going to take this one down to a kneeling position. So hips pointing forwards and standing nice and tall. So keeping that knee, don't let that knee cave in, so keeping that knee out. And we're aiming to think of really pushing, so you don't want your bottom sticking out like that, you want your bottom tucked under and really using your glutes to push this hip forward, to straighten through and stretch through your hip flexors. And then you're just going to move forwards and backwards in a nice gentle movement. You need to just take that front foot a little bit further away, keeping your bottom tucked under. So we don't want the body to bend, because the minute your body bends, your hip flexors are going to shorten, and we're trying to stretch them, because these are the muscles that will be really short when you're sitting. So think of pushing your hips forward, really think of moving your body using the muscles in your bum rather than anything else. Okay, and swap sides. So that's with my bottom sticking out, that's with my bottom tucked under, so you've got a nice flat back. So working through my glutes and just rock. Move your weight forwards, keeping your body upright. So you're not going to move massively. And this is a gentle mobility action for your hip flexors. We could increase the stretch by lifting the foot at the back, but we're not going to do that today. Okay, you get the idea. And then the final one for the hips, it's a really good idea to sit cross-legged sometimes. So again, you're just encouraging some external rotation through that hip joint. So if you are particularly bendy, you can do a full butterfly stretch and put the soles of your feet together and encourage your knees to go towards the floor. My hips are not that bendy, and to do that one properly I would have to sit on blocks. So sitting cross-legged, sitting nice and tall, and then just rounding down. Imagine you've got a ball sitting in your lap, rounding down over that ball, and you should feel some nice stretch through the outside of your hips. And again, you can round down and then sit nice and tall, and then do it again. And then we're just going to change the cross of your leg, so your other leg is forwards and round forwards. Sitting nice and tall, rounding down over that. It's got to be a netball, hasn't it? Even if you sit cross-legged, if your chair will allow you to, sit cross-legged in your chair at your desk sometimes. That can be better for your hips as well, sitting nice and tall. But we're definitely not designed to be sitting with our legs like this all of the time. So look after those hips, look after your spine, look after your shoulders. Little and often movement is good. So whatever you can do, I don't know, when you're waiting for the kettle to boil. So that's it for today's session. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and I will be back tomorrow. Don't forget to check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com and have a look at the online coaching programs that are available. Changing eating and exercise habits can be hard, and most of us know what to do, and yet we still don't do it. And these programs actually coach you to changing your habits so that you are healthier for the long term. So check out the details. There's a couple of free guides on there as well that you might be interested in, and we'll go and have a look. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.